Hello, I am Jordan T. Mystic. I am an illustrator, an educator, a parent, and an artist with a capital A. These 4 habits are something I see every single day. These are 4 habits that I dealt with when I was younger, in my earlier years, in my drawing practice. This video is not to point out your flaws, but rather to show you what might help you and how and where you can build better habits to progress faster. If you build some more positive habits in place of these not so great habits, you will find that your progress will leap quite quickly. I want to give you this so as to give you the bridge between where you are to where you want to be. I want to give you this information and I'm pointing out these bad habits for you so that you don't have to go through all of the trial and error that I went through. That's my plan here. What we do here is we create more creatives. And this is how I can best do this. So, habit number 1 is not drawing daily. I know this seems daunting. I know when you do the math, there's 365 days in a year, 52 weeks in a year, 7 days in that week. How could I possibly do 365 drawings a year? But it's actually much simpler than that. A drawing doesn't have to be a finished piece. You just got to stack the days. I mean, use your sketchbook like a journal, like a training journal. Fill a page with your weaknesses. Maybe you suck at hands, fill a page with hands. Maybe you suck at eyes, fill a page. Whatever you're weak at, fill a page with it. Just that day. Or even just draw one on a page. You don't even have to fill the page. Just draw one. Just start there. Start small. Ask yourself, if I'm going to draw daily, am I dedicated and committed to this craft, first of all, and mastering this craft? And second of all, how can I make this easy? How can I make this easy? To figure out how you can make it easy, just draw something a day. Even if you do line exercises, look up some line exercises. Do line exercises. That's a great way to draw every single day. Make lists of things to draw. Make yourself a list a few days ahead, and then just go through that list if you're really worried about ideas and what to draw. And don't be hard on yourself. You have to make time every single day to draw. If you want to get better at it, you have to make time every single day to draw. You can make time, you can bookend your day with it. You can either do it first thing in the morning like I do, or you can do it right before bed, after dinner. Just make a time every single day to do it and make it a habit. You see, if you draw for 2 weeks straight, you will build a habit. Every single day you draw for 2 weeks straight, you'll build a habit. If you do it for 6 weeks, you will feel sick every time you don't draw. It's the same sort of thing if you go to the gym or you exercise. It's just exercise for your creative brain, your muscles as well. Get that muscle memory going. Just don't be afraid of the blank page and just draw every single day. Get rid of that habit and you will get much better, much quicker. Habit number 2, fill your creative bank account. I can't take credit for that name. Jake Parker created the idea of the creative bank account, and I have been using it ever since. If you think about your creativity and your ideas as a bank account, to make withdrawals, you need to make deposits. So one of the first things you can do is go outside of your comfort zone as far as the art that you're consuming. Learn about artists you've never heard of before. Watch movies that might have been a little bit weird to you. Listen to music that's weird. Weird stuff is a really, really great place to get your imagination going and to fill that creative bank account. Weird music, weird television, weird books, weird film. Get yourself a Pinterest board. When you start filling Pinterest, get a Pinterest account and make some Pinterest boards. Make sure you go back to them when you make them. Make some Pinterest boards. When you fill those Pinterest boards up, what Pinterest's algorithm ends up doing is it gives you ideas for your boards based upon what it is you put on your boards. And you start to go down these interesting imaginative rabbit holes of people's work and weird clothing design and whatever it may be. So start with things you like and then see where you go from there. Start to just try not to build a comfort bubble around yourself when it comes to creativity, because you're not going to have ideas, because you're not going to think of new things, and you're not going to have a bunch of things up here in your creative bank account. If you want to make a withdrawal from your creative bank account, you need to make some deposits first. And the final thing, watch old stuff. Watch stuff that your parents like. Ask people what they like. Ask people about the music and the movies and the television they grew up watching or that they like. Watch things from when you're a kid. Go back and watch an old cartoon you haven't watched in years. Just do something that you don't regularly do so you can fill that creative bank account. Habit number 3, forget the finished product. Okay. Most of the art you will see from your favorite artists and from professionals is finished products. Most artists like myself, we don't post our bad art on Instagram. Just not what we do. But it doesn't really mean that we don't make bad art. Seth Godin says, if you want to master something, show me your bad writing. Show me your bad art. You want to be a screenwriter, show me 10 bad screenplays. It sounds very overwhelming to think, I have to make so much bad art before I actually make good art. Yes and no, because within that discipline of daily work, you're going to make good art. It's just going to happen, but you have to turn up every single day to do so. But the art that you see is a finished product. I'm sure there's multiple filmmakers out there that have filmed and gotten to the editing suite and gone, and just felt like, oh, that was bad. We didn't get anything worth shooting. And then they put together that final film and it was super bad. Ferris Bueller, you know? All you've got to do is just remember that you're just going to draw. Enjoy the process the same way that a child does. Just draw. Don't think about the finished product. A child doesn't think about the finished product. When I sit down with my daughter and draw, she's not interested in what she's actually drawing, what it looks like at the end. She just likes doing it. Like, I go to put it up on the fridge and she goes, oh yeah, this is... She doesn't care, she's done. Once she's done, she doesn't sit back and look at it and go, oh, I stuffed up there, I stuffed up there. Try to get into that mindset. Get into that child mindset. Find yourself, just lose yourself in it. Stop worrying about the finished product, because that's when you're going to get comparison issues and you're going to get like analysis paralysis, and you don't want that. Trust me. It's only going to make it harder for you to master your craft and get better at drawing. Really. You've also got to remember that, and I'd like you to know if you're not aware of this, that every professional that works and all the work you see from professionals is years and years and years into that one piece, not that specific piece, but years and years and years of mastery that goes into that one piece that helps them to get to that point so that they can just quickly draw what they draw. It takes time. A child doesn't know how to walk or run the way that I can walk or run, because I've had time to do it the way that you can. So just keep doing it every single day. Consider it like walking, the way that a 2-year-old does. If a 2-year-old falls over and hurts himself, they don't just stay down and go, oh, well, that's it, I'm never walking again. They don't even think about it. They just get back up and start again. Try being like that. If you can get yourself to that point with your practice, you're leagues ahead of everybody else who's in the game trying to master something, let alone something as complex and that takes as much time as drawing. And finally, learn the basics. Learn the basics. Learn your construction. Learn how to draw shapes. Learn how to draw and construct and draw anatomy. Learn where all the muscles are on both males and females. Learn perspective. Learn color theory. Learn everything you can. Basics, fundamentals. Consider this your elementary or primary school education. Just learn everything you can until it is in your subconscious, and then get it wrong. Just keep getting it wrong, because every time you get it wrong, I want you to, the same way you would get it wrong with, like I said before, walking, like a child gets it wrong with walking, just keep getting it wrong so that you can keep getting up and trying again and trying again and trying again. Just don't give up. If you are really committed to drawing, you have to have an obsession with it. If you really want to get better at drawing and you want to be as good as everyone in the game right now, you need to be obsessed, because there's people out there, and I guarantee you, I could find 20 other people in this industry that are more committed than you are, that are more committed and obsessed and in love with this and just passionate about this industry and this craft. And that's why they are as good as they are. If you want to be like that, then you have to be committed. Not many people say that, but you have to be obsessed. Get obsessed. I've been doing this for well over 20 years. I've been professional for about 6 or 7 years now, coming up on 7 years now. You absolutely have to be obsessed with this, trust me. Because it can take some time for the money to come. But get obsessed and you'll get good. Habit number 4. You're not referencing when you're drawing. What do I mean by this? I mean, you're not using reference photos. This should be rule number 1. Reference everything. Very few pros don't use references. And the ones who do, I would argue, are still using references. When you're drawing someone out in public, that's a reference. People like Kim Jong-gi, who doesn't use references and just draws straight on, he's using a reference. He's admitted he's using a reference of a memory of something that he's intentionally taking in as much information as he possibly can. But when he's sitting down, instead of talking to someone, he is so aware of his surroundings that he's taking in everything he possibly can. So basically, everyone uses references. It just depends on what that looks like. So make sure you're referencing. This will change your game. Copy if you must. Just don't claim it as your own. For some reason, there's this weird, and I want to disrupt this because it hurts me that there's this really weird thing going on in the industry right now where there's a lot of videos on YouTube and Instagram and so on of people, shaming people who have copied work, which is fine, which is great. I get it makes content. Whoever, I'm not going to shame anyone who does that. You do you, whatever. What it seems like that is creating, though, is a strange cloud in the industry of anti-copying. But really, the way that everyone learns is copying. The way that professionals continue to draw is referencing. Referencing is just a fancier word for copying. Copying an image, copying a pose. Just try to change it up a little bit. Do you know how many people out there who are working for the big companies, have big followings, are using poses from other professionals that came before them, from the greats that came before them? That's just what it is. It's the same as the cinema industry using a similar filter or a similar shot in a scene from, you know, a new guy now using a Quentin shot or a cut or whatever. It's all the same stuff. We're just learning from each other, from the guys that came from before us, and referencing is exactly that. You don't know how to draw a gun, just get a photo of a gun. You need to draw a stick, get a photo of a stick. Go outside, find a stick. Like, I don't care, just get a reference photo. I use reference photos all day. I'm glad Pinterest is free, because if they weren't, I would have sunk so much money into Pinterest at this point just for reference photos. So reference, just be careful not to completely copy and give away. The other thing, and this is also going to be quite disruptive, and this also goes into what I was talking about before about this weird aura and cloud in the industry about copying, is tracing. Now that is considered really, really bad and taboo. I want to talk about this very briefly, and I'm going to make a video later on about this, but when it comes to copying and tracing, it's hard to say that somebody copied someone else because ideas can form external from individuals. So one guy, like I myself, can never have contact with my neighbor 2 houses down, and he could still have the same idea as me. I think I might make a video on ideas because that's a really interesting concept, but he might have the same idea as me, but I've never had any contact with him. The same as a guy in India might have the same idea as me and execute on it just like I do. And I can't get mad at him for copying me because he's never come across me. We just had the same idea. So I really want to be at the forefront of stop worrying about all this copying stuff. It's very fragile and ego-based. Tracing is the same thing. So if you want to learn how to get better at drawing, tracing is a really great way to do that. Again, just as long as you don't claim it as your own. That's when it gets really dodgy. Trace and don't show anybody. You don't have to. One of the ways I used to train and learn was I used to print out copies of the pencils of some of my favorite comic book artists like Jim Lee. I did a lot of Jim Lee, Frank Miller, that sort of stuff. And I inked their pencils. Through inking those pencils, I reverse engineered the way that they built these figures and the thinking. It was such an intimacy that I got with these artists that you would never really get from them. Like I felt like I was sitting there drawing with them, and I learned so much. You wouldn't believe how much you would learn, even just where the nose sits or where the eye. I've got some sheets, and I'll put them down in the link below, of some expressions that you can use to trace. Use those, please. Please, I beg you, use those sheets. Trace them. Trace those sheets like no tomorrow. Learn from me. Reverse engineer what goes on in my head. It was the best. It was the most amazing way I could have learned how to ink, not only ink, but draw. It was awesome. I loved it. So, trace, guys. Don't be afraid of tracing. Just don't claim it as your own, please. I have to say that because I know that this is going to come back to me if I don't. And finally, like I said, reference everything from eyes to noses to faces, expressions, backgrounds, colors, color schemes, anything. When you're drawing, reference everything. If you want to get better, you have to reference, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that's the 4 bad habits that you might be dealing with in your day-to-day that are stopping you from getting better at drawing, stopping you from progressing in your drawing practice. But just remember, draw daily. If you want to get better, change that habit. Draw daily. Fill your creative bank account. Forget about the finished product and just draw something. Just practice and reference. Use reference photos, copy and trace to get better. All of this, you don't have to put any of this on Instagram. You don't have to put it on Facebook. You don't have to put it anywhere. You don't have to show anyone. You don't even have to show your parents or your partner, anyone. Just consider this your quiet practice. And I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, if you do these 4 things, if you get better at these 4 things and you remove these 4 habits and replace them for the ones that I spoke about, you will get better. I have been Jordan T. Mystic. This is my page. I'm glad I'm back here doing more videos. Let me know in the comments if there's anything I didn't cover in this video and you want to know. Just ask questions in there, let me know. Or anything you'd like to see in a future video. If you would like to support me, go to Facebook, join my group. I'll put the link down below. I just got a Facebook group there. I'm a fan artist and I am a commission artist, and I'm an artist with a capital A. I do digital fan art commissions. So yeah, follow me on Instagram at Jordan T. Mystic. Same goes for TikTok and Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, stay weird.